Hey everybody, it is Elson932 on YouTube. We are here for another episode of Alone South Africa, episode 3. Please make sure you have liked the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and please leave a comment below because we do talk about this. And y'all are certainly schooling me more about survival techniques, how to pronounce certain things, and about South Africa, and I really appreciate it. So we start episode 3 with the quote, "We never know the worth of water till the well runs dry," by Thomas Fuller. This episode, we get in touch with Will, Kelsey, Douglas, and Pablo. It said, since the water is rank, I'm like, do they have to boil the water to bathe into? I don't know. They said the water is rank. And when Jit walked in with nothing on his feet, I thought he absorbed what was in the water. So we learn it's day 3, 3:41 a.m. We see Will. He said, time to go fishing with a scorpion that he found. He took the tail off and he pinches off he took the pinchers off too. I do have photos and you'll see that, and you'll see the scorpion, like you see the ground to the naked eye, and then you see the UV light where the scorpion lights up. So we're told that participants are given UV lights for safety against critters like scorpions. Scorpions can absorb this light and remit it in a way that is visible to humans. Because y'all, as you see the dirt floor, and then you see the scorpion lit up with the UV light. I was scared. I was like, no. That would have certainly caught me off guard. Then we see 3:57 a.m. He tells us that the catfish are more active at night. They won't be out in a hot, scorching sun because the top of the water is scorching. So he catches this sharp-toothed catfish off camera. And I do have a photo of that as well. And the sharp-toothed catfish, we learn, are omnivores with fine pointed bands of teeth. Y'all, when you see it, it looks like rows and rows and rows of little teeth. I would not want to put my hand in their mouth, okay? 7:29 a.m., he is cleaning and prepping. He said his main staple of protein and fat will be this catfish. But he said he don't like fish, he don't like shrimp, neither crab, nothing that's out of the water. And I'm like, Will, what have you been eating? What have you been having as your protein? Has it only been red meat? Whew. He said he'll power it through. He'll be hungry enough to eat it. At 8:11 a.m., the catfish is cooking, and he has a little spit, and I absolutely love it, and I have a photo for you. He said it's not bad, but there are bones everywhere. It doesn't taste fishy, but he could just be too hungry to even notice. And this is the first catfish he's ever eaten. Y'all know I'm going through each person through the entirety of their moment on the show, and then, I'll go to the next one. So we won't be bouncing back and forth. So day 4, 11:03 a.m. He threw a rock to catch a bird in a tree. And I'm like, dude, you got to be faster than that. You usually cast nets to catch birds. He's climbing up the mountain to see if there are any other animals. And the show tells us the average person burns 120 calories per mile walking uphill. He says he's hoping he's hydrated enough to go and come back, since he did not include a canteen in his 10 items. Y'all remember we talked about carrying water. Only a few of them have it, and we'll talk about that later on. So he sees a waterbuck bull in the distance with a cow and a calf. He said he can smell them. I'm sure you can. He says, we're told the waterbucks have glands that emit a musky odor that is strong with the bulls. So he follows them to track them. And then he starts to realize the impact of his childhood. He tells us he has his own son now and wants to do something great and leave a legend behind. So he thinks he spooked them. They saw him and he spooked them. He said they're big herds out here, but they're so alert. He said the only way to get close is to wait for them. And then all I'm thinking of is, when hunters go out there and they have kind of like a hunter's blind. I think that's the right way to say it. And they just sit there and wait for the prey to come to them. That may be what you have to do in Alone. So at 12:57 p.m., back at camp, he's tired and he's hungry. And he's kicking himself for not hunting that kudu from day 2. Remember, he said he doesn't want to hunt, that large animal because it's kind of like a deer. He said he doesn't want to hunt them right away because he has nowhere to store it. He was basically day 2. I ain't got much around here. I can't handle and manage all that meat. Y'all, he spits on camera. And usually I wouldn't put too much stock into someone spitting, but I'm like, dude, that's a loss of water. That's a loss of water. And if he's dehydrated and dehydrating, then spitting is also a loss of water. But maybe I'm reading too much into it. What do you think? Then we see day 5, 7:50 p.m. It is 7 people remaining. Now the show always tells us what day it is, how many people are remaining, and it's 7. But y'all, we only saw, we saw 2 people leave. So there's a third one I haven't told you about yet. So he's cooking. He says he has a show called Cooking with William. And he's cooking a prickly pear. He says you have to burn the needles off, and you have to burn them real good because they have big needles and little hair-like needles. He dices it up and puts it in a pot. We're told the prickly pear pads taste like a cross between green beans and bell peppers. Okay, I'm allergic to green beans, so I may not be able to have that. Day 5, 1 catfish and 2 pounds of acacia beans. That's what he's had. So I'm like, okay, we had the catfish, we have 2 pounds of acacia beans, we could be good. We're told 2 pounds of acacia seeds is 2,550 calories and 180 grams of protein. This is desert survival food, he tells us. And we're told acacia seeds taste nutty with a chocolate, coffee, and raisin flavor. That sounds a little good. That sounds like something I'll be able to eat. And shout out to the person in the comments who told me how to properly say acacia. He says he got to figure it out and hope his stomach doesn't hurt tomorrow. Then we're told side effects of too much prickly pear include diarrhea, bloating, and nausea. Why didn't you tell us this when Jit was eating it? Why did you wait? Jit was eating it and I was thinking of the prickly pear, but So y'all, what I found out about the prickly pear, if you know anything about like aloe or aloe vera, many people take aloe vera, just eat the inside gel-like in order to help, keep them regulated. But if you take too much of it, it will have you flowing a lot. And I think that's what's happening to Jit and what, William may experience if he continues it, because I looked it up. Prickly pear is more potent than aloe. File that away. 10:30 p.m. He is turning in his bed and then he throws up. 11:01 p.m. He said, hey, that's a lot of blood in his throw up. It's half blood. He said it could not have been the cactus that he ate that day because he just ate it that day. And it's not enough time for it to go through him. But he don't know what to do about it, but something is wrong. Then we hear like a radio, home base, there's a red button alert. A red button alert, we learn, initiates an immediate response from the participants. So they're all given a red button, and if you push that, they come immediately. So the boat arrives. It arrives at night. I don't know if I have pictures for you, but it does arrive at night, and it's a medic. Ask him, does he know where he is? He said yes. He told them what he's been puking. He's been sweating. He's cold. They immediately give him an IV line. The medic asks, have you eaten? He said yes, acacia seeds. And then we learn, the show is giving me, and then we learn too late. Acacia seeds reduce the protein digestibility. So I'm thinking he's been eating acacia seeds, then he ate the catfish. The protein can't be digested in his system because of all the acacia seeds he's been eating. So if the protein can't be digested, he's not getting protein. They said it reduces the digestibility. And I wonder if he ate so much that his body just isn't digesting protein. That's just my thought. I am not a medic. I'm not a survivalist, but that's just my thought. But please put in the comments, what do you think? So the medic asked, did you roast your prickly pear? He said he boiled it, and he boiled it really good. He forgot to tell him, yes, he roasted it. Y'all, this is an edited show. They didn't show me that he said it. So if he said it, blame editing because they left it out. He said he has headaches too. He has cold chills after throwing up. He also got the headache after throwing up, but the body aches were before he was throwing up. They keep him talking, say, hey, you got to stay with us. You got to talk with us. And the medic says, hey, while they're checking his vitals, it's not safe for you to stay here. We'll get a stretcher. We'll get you, back to base camp. They also think it is not safe for him to even walk to the boat. So Will tells us, they get a montage of what they say on their way out. And while they are getting him onto the stretcher, strapping him onto the stretcher, and carrying him to the boat, he said he's tired of making hard choices that set him back. And from now on, it's only up. He said definitely, this is an important chapter in his legend. He said he is a poor ranch worker in Texas, and if it wasn't for this show, wasn't for this opportunity, he would never have set foot in Africa, never been able to. He said his takeaways is that he wants his boy to grow up with more than he had. And hopefully, there are many chapters in his legend and more triumphs than failures. So y'all, I did not put any photos of him being taken away in the stretcher. I just, want to be a little more respectful. It happened at night. It's also dark, but I didn't want us to see Will in that capacity, even though that is his truth and what happened. That is just a personal opinion. Y'all could leave it in your opinion below. Let me know if you wanted to see him in the stretcher being carried out, because that's one of the ones in the preview. We couldn't figure out who was being carried out in the stretcher, and it turns out it is Will. But I just didn't want, to present to you Will in the stretcher with all the IV and everything being hooked up to him. We're told that Will was diagnosed with acute colitis, likely caused by ingesting a harmful substance that inflamed his colon. He received over 4 liters of IV fluids, antibiotics, and steroids before being released. So y'all, Will was medically removed. I don't want to say tap out. He was medically removed or medically evacuated. So we go on to the next person, Kelsey. That's my girl. That's my warthog girl. Day 3, 3:48 p.m. She says she needs more water today. And she tells the people on the couch, y'all, you need to be drinking more water. You need to drink more water. Why she said that? Let me grab my water. Let me have a little water myself. Kelsey said I need more water. Let me grab it. So we're told that 75% of Americans are chronically dehydrated. Y'all, I carry that water with me everywhere, but I still could be dehydrated, okay? She says she's getting rocks to form a water cache. And while she's picking up the rock, she finds a frog. But she lets him live. She's like, you lucky I ain't hungry because I got that warthog. I don't need you as bait for fish. I was like, Kelsey remember, she named her camera. She named her camera Karen, so she's talking to someone. And now here she is talking to the frog like it's a person. She said, she's not hunting again until there's only 2 days left of jerky from the warthog. But y'all, if y'all been watching Alone, and even if you have not, there have been people who have caught big game. People don't think warthog is a big game, but there are people who have caught warthogs and other things. Not warthogs, but you know what I mean. And they have hoarded the food, and they have rationed the food down to the minimal. And that they still are losing weight, and they're not gaining or sustaining weight. And there's, previous seasons where they have tons of food, but they're medically evacuated because they are too thin. So she said, is a factor as she carries the rocks. She's been, drinking 1 pot of water a day, but she knows it's not enough. We're told they're allowed to take a pot, which has a maximum of 2 quarts. Now, I broke that down to 3.9 cups or 0.25 gallons. Y'all know if it's almost 4 cups of water, that's barely enough. I'm sure it's more than 4 cups in my thing here, and I drink tons of that a day. Probably fill this sucker up like 4 times a day. So I know Kelsey not getting enough water. She said she's building a cache, so no need for fires every day. So collecting, filtering, boiling water, we're told, takes about 30 minutes for each pot. You know how many times a day you got to do that? So if she goes on a hunt, she can come back to clean water. So I have a photo of her setup where she puts, the rocks and then puts a piece of tarp. But I'm like, why is she leaving it out in the sun? Will it heat up too much? Will it evaporate? What's going on? But it can hold, she said, 2 pots of water. And she gets some rocks. She flips over a piece of the tarp and put rocks to keep the tarp covered. Then I'm like, dust? I mean, there's no Ziploc, but then dust could still fly in there with the way she has her setup. So she is a veterinary tech, and she said she uses that to help her process the warthog, her knowledge. She eats the warthog by the waterside, and she has a duck that comes by to visit that she talks to. So Chelsea's talking to the animals. She's eating an animal and talking to the animals. Day 4 at 1:57 p.m., she finds an area with a lot of kudu, like skulls, like the horns, the long twisted horns. She finds kudu skulls and horns in this area. And I'm like, could this be the hunting location or feeding location of another animal? Is this a burial site? Because it's just out there. The animals just perish right there. She's getting her shelter up, and she uses blue bush. We learned that blue bush is hard and dense and very sturdy for shelters. It seems to be in a dried riverbed area, like in the river. And I'm like, why are we doing this? Then she says, unless a huge raid come by, she should be safe. I said, girl, unless a huge why would you set it up there? Y'all, I have pictures of the setup. Y'all will see it as we go along. You'll see the sticks and stuff. You'll see she is in the riverbed. So we're told the area receives about 10 inches of rain annually, especially in the summer months. I'm like, are we in the summer or the winter? I can't remember. But she wants to live close to the water. The dry riverbed, she says, has no rocks and no place for snakes and scorpions to hide. So we're told many snakes and scorpions hide under rocks and crevices until prey arrives. It seems the best way to hunt out here for you to hide behind the rocks and crevices to get the other game. So y'all better become the snakes and the scorpions of the area for y'all to be able to catch stuff. But anyway, I'm like, she gonna make new crevices with all her stuff for them to hide in, and especially those skulls. Oh no, I wouldn't be putting that around my camp. She said the sand is softer than the ground, and she uses the skulls to kind of hold her tarp down. I kind of circled that in the photo where you can see the skull on the top of it. But she gets it done, okay? She's going to tie down everything, and if it rains, she said, hey, she'll just get washed away. I'm like, girl, why are we doing things to possibly get washed away? Then we're told flash floods occur within minutes, triggering dangerous mudslides. And there she is on the end of it. And she's in the riverbed, the dried out riverbed. So she gets reeds for her bed, the tall grasses. She said winter is coming, and there will be frost everywhere. And I said, okay, we ain't in the summer. She ain't gonna get them flash floods, but you never know. So the temperatures, we learned, will get below freezing at night. She said she needs to keep dry so, she can keep away from the frost. And we're told that changes in temperature make the body more vulnerable to infection. Her shelter is done at 4:55 p.m. Y'all, I got the photos for you. It looks a mess. But I am not a survivalist, so what do I know? It's just me. It look a mess. It don't look sturdy, and it certainly don't look tied down. And how you gonna tie it down? The floor of the riverbed is going to be real soft. It ain't gonna be hard where you can really, like hammer something in and tie it down. But I don't know. So she's looking at birds around camp. I have a photo for you. And we're told those are white-fronted bee eaters, highly social and live in complex colonies. She said she needs David Attenborough to narrate her live National Geographic. And y'all, she does his voice and Next up is Douglas, day 4, 9:17 a.m. His shelter is coming along, he said, and he's spending too much time keeping the fire going and processing water. He said he cannot go hunt and fish. And remember, y'all, if they go out fishing and they throw in a line, they have to monitor that line. They can't just walk away and leave it like previous seasons. So he said he needs water storage. He said he finds agave. Now, agave, we're told, indigenous communities have used Caru agave for centuries for medicine and crafts. Native Americans have used agave to make water bottles. He said he worked in a water plant for 24 years and understands the bacteria that can be in water. He said he won't tap out because of water, and he won't live that down. He said, no, it's no good to go without water for 3 days because it will end you. Y'all, he cuts off some of the agave root. I'll have photos for you. And we're told the agave root are typically hollow, but insides can be easily removed. So he burns off the long staff that's attached to it. He just sets it, in the fire. He said he doesn't want to waste energy by hacking into it with his axe. So we're told that agave is native to the Americas and wasn't introduced to Africa until the colonial period. Africa used other items as containers like clay pots, dried gourd, and ostrich eggs. I would love to see how they cured the ostrich egg to make it a container. That would be awesome to see. He said many did not bring a water bottle, and he thought they were crazy. Dude, Douglas, I thought so too. Thank you. I'm not a survivalist, y'all. Remember that. But Douglas, oh my gosh, you have the same mind. We're told that Douglas, Nathan, and Doug brought a water bottle. They didn't tell us that Jit also brought a water bottle. They didn't acknowledge it since Jit is already tapped out. But I'm going to acknowledge Jit also brought a water bottle. He sits by the fire thinking of his great mentors. He does mention names. They taught him primitive technology and life, and they were his father figures. He says that he had no idea how much water could fit in this agave, but it looks like it'll be over a gallon. Now he puts the opening of it over the smoke of the fire, and I wonder if that to smoke out is to eliminate any germs or anything, or maybe just to smoke something out. But definitely it looks like it. But what can he use as a lid? Because y'all see the picture, y'all see the opening, very wide opening. What can be used as a lid? I'll be interested to know. So after Douglas, next up is Pablo, and we find out day 5, 3:57 p.m. So he's making fishing lures. Now those lures look kind of big. I didn't able to get a picture, but it looked kind of big. It is 3:57 p.m. y'all. You know it's hot. He said he's not used to fishing with a spool. In Cuba, they use a yo-yo, and it is a light circular tool and makes the casting easier. He's remembering the fishing tips of his dad. So then he goes again at 8:42 a.m. No fish. He gained almost 40 pounds in preparation for the show. Now, y'all know some people bulk up so that when they don't have food and they kind of starve, they won't go into real starvation and be emaciated until much later. So he talks about his dad and his family's journey to the U.S. from Cuba. 10:41 a.m. he is boiling water, and the current temperature, we're told, is 77 degrees Fahrenheit and 27 degrees Celsius. Y'all, when he reached for the lid, he tipped some of the pot over in the water and onto the fire. And I was like, oh, no, 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 no. Pablo, remember the last time? It's all I saw with Pablo doing that. I thought of Baja, but I remembered, yes, okay, Pablo does have a ferro rod to start back another fire. But I immediately had anxiety like he was Baja. So the sun's heat, he said, is taking a toll, so he works on the shelter to get out of the sun. And he has to stop to get into the shade. He says he feels nauseated. We're told when dehydrated, the body produces less gastric juices and causes irritation in the stomach. No matter how much water he drinks, he is always thirsty. His throat and lips are dry. He feels drained, weak, and that turns on to more negative thoughts. He did not take any food in his 10 items. Now, you know, some of them do have like salt. Some of them do have the other, like a beef jerky, the permissin. I can't remember exactly what it is, but some of them did take that kind of food-like substance, but he didn't take any. So dehydration, I'm sure a pinch of salt in his water may help. Now, as a survivalist, y'all tell me if that's a possibility. He said he can't keep doing this. He can't keep up. You know, he feels lightheaded. Dehydration and drinking the water is getting to him. He said he should have brought a water bottle to keep with him. He's always thirsty and feels like he always has to boil water. He said it should not be this hard, but it's time. Y'all, I'll have photos for you, but Pablo calls and officially taps out. He says no way he would have made it, you know, without water. He said it's hard during the day. He could not keep up to stay hydrated. It was a dream of his, you know, and it's hard for him to tap out. He said he did not see this ending. He is disappointed. He did not win the life-changing money, and this will haunt him every day. but I will not risk health issues. Now, Pablo, I applaud you. Of course, you are here longer than most. You even made it to the show. I hope it doesn't haunt you for a long time because you did your best. You did your best. And, you know, the heat and water is definitely a huge challenge. He said this has given him a new perspective of his parents and their sacrifices from Cuba. He will honor them by being the best person he can be. His family will be proud. And it looks like his tent is left behind because when the boat was pulling away, I saw the tent in the background. But remember, they have all the camera equipment, all the batteries, and all of the trail stuff to take back with them. So, of course, the equipment could be left behind for the other crew to come clear it away. So again, after all of this, this is the end of the episode. So in the previews we see Kelsey hunts an ibis that's on the shore side. Doug digs up a scorpion and eats it. And I'm like, Doug, that's bait for fish. Katie sees clouds in the distance and is coming. And she's like, hey, I got to hustle up and make my shelter. Get it together. Now, they also have a part of the show that calls a ride back where we see their ride back. I do appreciate this. We hadn't seen it before. At least I didn't see it in prior. Maybe my version didn't show it. But we see Pablo's ride back that he's greeted by Jit and Colton. And he tells them, honestly, the heat got to him. It really did. We see Will. He was medically removed. They say he has a low temperature but a good pulse. They say he may have hypothermia with the low body temperature. And he told them, hey, this boat ride is making me nauseous. But they're like, hey, we got to get you out of here. He's later placed in a life support van, and he is taken away. The medic said it could be internal hemorrhaging because of the blood that came up in his throw-up. And an ambulance does take him away. And y'all, that is the complete end of the episode. The two contestants who, you know, are no longer on the show. As we know, Pablo officially tapped out and Will asked for immediate emergency extraction. Now, let me know what your thoughts are on this episode. I really did enjoy it. I did not enjoy seeing Will be medically evacuated. I want none of the participants to be hurt during the course of this. But it was great to see their response. And I wish they told us kind of like their response time. Because he pressed that red button and we immediately saw that it was put into action. So again, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel.